absolutely honest people, the Mahatma Gandhis, 635 Mahatma Gandhis. Would the country be a better place if the quality of debate is lousy? If they haven't done their homework? If they do not know what economic policy to follow for the economic development? How to distribute wealth? How to deal with the Maoists? How to deal with the frightening international world around us? How to deal with the Islamic terrorists which might be coming from Central Asia? If you don't improve the quality of debate, that is the heart of democracy. So I don't have the capacity of Anna Hazare to fast. I have to keep eating. I must have my 2.5 meals a day. But if I was advising someone, I would say, far more important perhaps, is the quality of debate. And the quality of debate takes place where? A, Parliament, and B, the media. Not the television, that's all right. The newspapers. The newspapers which are not like Basti. 80% advertisement, 20% material which is borrowed from internet. One center-page article, that to 100 words and full stop. Compared to great newspapers like Le Monde or Frankfurt Zeitung or New York Times, where you made an article seriously debating issues and it takes an hour to read it, not 5 minutes as it takes you to read it. And you go away with all these ideas and say, where should my country go? Now that quality of debate, to me, is absolutely crucial. And in its absence, we are in danger of falling prey to foreign influence on the way we think.
Suppose we don't give so much privileges and power to the politician, will it attract the right kind of patriotic people, and so that the quality of...
Speak into the mic.
I said, suppose we don't give so much privileges and power to the politicians, and we attract only the patriotic, good people who want to serve the country. Because we cannot eliminate corruption by legal measures alone. It's necessary but not sufficient. So how do we attract the right people so that the quality improves? Because the basic unit of society is individual and families.
We were talking earlier about corporate brand. And I think if I have a recipe for India, I would want to patent it and make a little money. No, I think you have raised an extremely important question. If you want to improve the quality of debate, and if you want to improve the quality of public life, we'll have to start making sure that the right kinds of people get into public life. How do we do that? Some will get into public life anyway. This public life takes two forms. One is senior commentators, writing articles in newspapers, what you might call the public culture. And the other is Parliament, through parliamentary institutions. How do we get, the first is relatively easy, although not that easy. And I think the mistake of the Election Commission and others has been to concentrate entirely on the quality of representatives. How do we get the right kinds of people in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha? Important, and I think we should do that, make sure. How do we do that? It's a long story. We'll think in terms of educating the electorate, we'll have to think in terms of making sure that whoever stands for election satisfies certain criteria. We'll have to make sure that right kinds of information is available during election campaign and all that. Having elected your representatives, you have to make sure that their quality of character and debate is up to scratch. And that would mean providing the right kinds of research material, information, so on and so forth. But I think alongside this political part of public life is what I call the public culture. And here I sometimes feel proud of India because we seem to do better this sorts of thing than others. And sometimes I feel uneasy. If you look at many of our major columnists, and some of them are extremely fine minds, and Pratap Mehta, Thomas you would remember, and Pratap, whom I enjoy reading, a fine mind, he writes a regular column which is usually very good. Or in the Hindu, you would have some first-class people writing. The trouble is A, that this number is very small, and B, they are not constantly involved in any kind of big debate. So this is where I would want to tackle the problem. Encouraging the media to bring in intellectuals into public life in a major way and improving the quality of representatives.
We just take one last question from the lady.
Am I audible? What I believe that looking to a corruption, it can be eliminated by enhancing the morals of the individual. As you said in the section that it is the sensibility, moral sensibility is also important aspect. But if we see that it is very much imbibed into the upbringing of the child. That mother says that if you will be doing so and so, I'll be giving you a chocolate, right? So it is. I believe that it is into the upbringing of the individual, upbringing of the child, that we can focus it into. So I just want to have the idea that how this can be taken forward. The corruption can be related to the upbringing psychology of the child or the individual. Like morals cannot be changed overnight of a person. It is building a moral of an individual. It is a long process. It is a lifetime process, I believe. So if we are talking on the corruption, the morals has to be strong. A person has to be a strong charactered person, right? So as an individual, we can bring a change in the society only if the morals are strong. But the main problem we are facing that the building of the models into the individual, right? So how this can be done? Also the second point I want to ask you that, as you said, there are certain celebrities and the other figureheads in the India that are doing these advertisements, but this is the things that consumer wants. I'll be convinced with the good advertisements shown by the good celebrities, or the middle class consumer will be satisfied and will be compelled to purchase certain products because of that. So how that is justifiable, sir?
Excuse me, sir. Can I add one more thing? One thing I want to note that we society are focusing on result rather than the means to achieve that result. And maybe that is also cause of corruption, because whenever we are respecting any person, sometimes it may be because of the money or the status they are having, but we forget that how that particular result is being achieved. So that can be a reason.
Well, I think the chairman is about to close the meeting, and you have asked me a question which, if I were to answer, said 3 questions in fact you have asked. You were asked to ask only the last question. He didn't say the last question now. He said the last question. The last question, the last 2 questions. No, if I were to answer all 3 satisfactorily, to your satisfaction and to my satisfaction, it will take a lot of time. But look, you have all been worried about corruption. Okay, we are all worried about corruption. But I would want you, since you are both young people, to think a little hard about 2 things. First of all, how do you define corruption? Just be a little careful. It's easy, the man takes a bribe from me. We all know that. But that's a trivial form of corruption. Or the minister takes money for his political party. The 2G spectrum, and a lot of money went into the coffers of Congress party or some other. That's a different kind of corruption. Or when you take a particular decision or a particular policy, foreign policy, thinking it will be in the interest of your country, but have been brainwashed by a foreigner or a foreign government, this to me is the greatest form of corruption. Which is why I was not terribly happy about the civil nuclear deal, or the way in which you can buy the China as a threat kind of line. So first of all, let us be clear about what kind of corruption we are talking about. And also, don't condense your memory, because this Bhashtachar business, the word itself, I think is very striking. This word Bhrashta and this Brahmanic orientation. And we need to be careful if that is the word we want to use. You see, Gandhiji didn't talk about Bhashtachar. He talked about Durachar. Sadachar and Durachar. Now, there is a very important difference between Durachar and Bhashtachar. Bhashtachar catches a ticket inspector. Bhashtachar doesn't catch a minister who follows a policy ultimately dangerous to his country, but because he has been seduced into thinking along those lines by somebody. So that's the first point. And the second point is, of course, you learn character from your expert mother's knee, but what follows? You should have good mothers. So how do you produce good mothers?